Hello, everyone. It's the Alchemical Crafter here. Today I'm going to work in my art journal. I don't know why I jumped to my art journal, but I was just feeling a need to work in it. And usually that just means soul searching for me, which it ended up being what it was. It's near the time of my mother's birthday, who passed a few years ago. And I think that's kind of why I needed to be here. Anytime you see me working with the color pink, I'm thinking of my mother. It was her favorite color. But I really wasn't exactly sure what I was doing with my art journal at this stage, and I struggled with this for a long time in the process of this. There's many layers to this page today, so if you don't like something, just hang in there. It's going to change, and you may like it better or worse. It really was kind of a roller coaster ride of me liking the page, not liking the page. At one point, I thought it was too dark, so I lightened it up. But then it was too light. So I darkened it again, and then I was looking at it, I was like, it was too bright and too dark. So I toned it down with some boring colors. Boring colors, no colors boring. Some neutral colors. And then I did a lot of stenciling and other things, and I finally realized what my struggle was. And I really think it ended up being that I was visualizing my entire past 2 years of dealing with processing my mother's death. And you think you're fine, you think you've passed over it, but then days like birthdays or holidays, they hit and you're just somehow overwhelmed and you don't know why. And I have found for me personally that my art journal helps me through tough times. But that's not the only way people process dealing with grief of sorts. They do it several different ways, and but this is my way. And so you will watch me process my current emotions through this entire spread, and I hope you enjoy it. And I'm going to probably pop back in from time to time to explain what I'm thinking at the time, because you may wonder why I'm covering things up that I just did. So you just saw me add some alcoholic inks that I just kind of splashed on there, and now I'm adding some crackle paste. I really love the effect of crackle paste. I'm not the most efficient person at using it, so I usually only tend to go to it in my art journal because this is my place for experimentation. I love trying all new kinds of things here, and once I get used to it, I'll proceed. But the crackle paste, with all the fresh colors underneath it, that they're going to bleed through the crackle paste, which but not all of it, and but it'll show up some of the colors, so it's not going to be totally white. But this is one of the main layers that stuck through to the end of my journal. But it's we're way in the beginning of my journey, so I'll let you get back to the music. So after I added the green to the crackle paste on top of that, I started to realize that they kind of look like the little flowering trees that you see in Japan and some other places. I can't think of what they're called. I'm sure many of you do. But so I just decided I might try to turn these into trees because I do love trees. And so I started creating some branches and stuff. This thought does not last till the end. This is one of my thoughts that got written over, but it was at the end, I started realizing it was, trees are a growth and um, they're very symbolic. And so even though you don't really see them in the end, they're part of the process and they're part of the growth. And I like that I know that they're there, even though you can't see them at the end of the process. So here's where I realized that it was just too bright and too dark at the same time, and the trees just didn't fit with the rest of the page, and I was just getting frustrated, and I was like, so I just started to pull back all of the colors. I'm like, let's just the highlights that I was putting on the trees, I just decided to take that color and just mute everything. You're going to see me cover almost the entirety of the page, but I am going to reduce that back down with a baby wipe so that it's only hints of the color that are left behind, but it will end up muting all of the colors. And then I had a better starting point for the rest of of the page, but I needed to do this. It was a step that needed to be done for peace of mind, and I really am glad that I did this step, even though as I was doing it, I was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What? This makes no sense." But sometimes you gotta do something crazy, and what I hear so many times from so many of you guys is trust the process. And so I'm glad I did because I really do enjoy my final the final look at the page. So I know many of you right now are being scared, but I'm telling you right now, trust the process and see it through to the end because it will look better. So here I am starting to pull back that color and and you'll start seeing the original colors starting to come back through. So now that I've muted the background, it's much more controllable in my mind. I decided it was time to start adding layers back on top of this to push all of the tree thought into the background. It was also at this time that I started to realize what this page was going to be about, and it was about healing and about grief. And I love this crackle stamp because sometimes we become broken for a period of time and we heal. But I truly believe that the cracks are always there. So towards the end of uh, creating this page, I realized that I was struggling so much with it because I was not only dealing with my mother, the remembering of my mother's death because of her birthday, but that because we're getting ready to go through the same thing with my dad. He's not in the best of health, and I think our body, my sister, I have two sisters. My sisters and I are we're just we're body worn, but our minds are like gearing up because we've gone through it before, and we've kind of, I don't know, put on a mental armor, I guess, trying to prep for what is to come. And I guess what I realized in this page was that, everybody works through grief differently, and nobody should be able to judge another person for how they deal with grief. Um, my sister, I think she works through it through duty. She has so much that she works and has a big huge family, and she helps everybody, and she just makes herself available to, she just wants to work and keep busy, and that's her way of healing. I think I do it through art because I it gives me a place of focus and brings me peace. And then I have another sister who sometimes I wonder if she's just not ready to deal with it yet, and she just buries it deep down, uh, until she's able, until her soul can deal with it later on. And that's fine. Grief has no time limit. Grief has no time limit. And I don't know that anybody's ever fully recovered from their grief. And, but time does heal. And actually, I've heard it said that it doesn't really heal, but that the world grows around it. And so you have more to absorb that helps you deal with your grief. I don't know. I am not an expert by any means. I was just trying to walk you through my art journal page. And so I guess you can realize by now that those three circles represent myself and my sisters. And that chaotic mess that's back there. I think that says it all. Dealing with your grief. It's not just a constant. I think it's a roller coaster ride, just like I did through the page. It's sometimes we're having good days, sometimes we're having bad, sometimes we're having a blend of both. And I think that's life. And not just with grief, that's just with a lot of things. And so I'm very pleased with this chaos of a page because it all came together towards the end. I absolutely love that background. The circles don't say much, they're just representation of what I was thinking. And I'm going to add a string here because the string ties my sisters and me together, and the string is family for me. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this page. It was a struggle for me mentally, and I just trying to figure out what I wanted and what I was looking for, and I think I found it. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm sorry if I was a little wordy today. I'm not normally one to speak, but I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you next time.